Just celebrated our 10th wedding anniversary this past December. We have a 4-year-old and a 2-year-old. Yes, definitely the primary breadwinner. I love entertaining. I love telling stories. I love the creativity of being an anchor person. I love writing. I like writing for television. I love sharing with people. I love everything about the job. Well, it was a typical morning in the Goddard household, Tuesday, May the 10th, and I woke up and I had the sports on. I had sports TV blaring in the background as I tended to my kids, and I heard the story of this particular agent, NHL agent Todd Reynolds, who basically voiced his disappointment with Sean Avery, who was supporting this so-called marriage equality in New York. And you don't hear of these stories in sports TV, let alone in Canadian sports television. So my ears perked up right away, and went to Todd Reynolds' Twitter page and saw his comments, and I had garnered so much respect for the man just in that moment right there. And then when I saw the responses that he was getting, just awful, hateful things that were being said about this man, I described it to my wife. It's like a flick kind of switched on, and it wasn't dissimilar to driving down the road and seeing some guy being jumped by 5 others. Your inclination is to go out and help. And so I got into the fray, and I tweeted myself from my own personal Twitter account that I completely and wholeheartedly support Todd Reynolds and his support for the traditional and true meaning of marriage. Scott Woodgate, the Vice President of News and Information, made that phone call. When I went into the office, I had noticed there was another gentleman there, Wayne Smith, who was the Vice President of Human Resources. So I knew something was up. I mean, even on the way into work, I wasn't really thinking that I was going to lose my job. I thought at worst I might get a slap on the hand saying just don't do that again. At the worst, maybe suspended, or I'd have to issue some sort of an apology. I was actually thinking of that. How do I apologize for something that I don't want to apologize for? But before I could sit down, they said, just to let you know, we're terminating your contract. They said, well, we have some things to say to you. And I said, well, I have nothing to say to you. And right after that, I think Scott was a little upset with me because he said, Damian, do you remember that conversation we had a while ago about the plans we had for you and these other shows at Sportsnet? Well, that's not happening now. You're fired. And I looked into his eyes and I said, yeah, I know. You just said that. If we do not do anything or say anything or put pressure on our government leaders to ensure that this does not happen again, if we don't do that, it's going to get worse. No, I mean, honestly, I don't see myself right now. There are no regrets. Would I do it again? Would I make that same? There is nothing I would change. I would not change a thing. I would not change a thing. I stand by what I said. Andrea is yeah. Andrea is amazing. I can't not speak about God when talking about Andrea because I see them together. One of the most difficult things to do was that day when I came home and tell her that I'd been fired, and to basically just take her by the shoulder and say, honey, everything's going to be fine. I can't express this enough to you. I have this immense feeling that this is all part of a plan, that God has a plan. The words, be not afraid, keep ringing in my ears. I cannot shake it. It's so strong. Be not afraid. Be not afraid. Don't worry. it's overwhelming. So I'm not afraid. I was being asked, what does this have to do with you and your life and your marriage to your wife? 11 years later, I lost my job for saying, I believe in one man and one woman. I think we need a huge amount of perspective here. I just lost my job. You know, it's not like this is 1917 Russia, and I was hauled out in front of my house and shot in front of my family. I lost my job. I hope to find another job sometime soon. But it's got to stop. Like, we have to stop it from escalating, from getting any worse than what it is right now. There is a fight that's underway, well underway. And we have to make a decision. Each of us have to make a choice. Speak up.